Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Some of you may know that Metallica is one of my favorite bands. I grew up loving them intensely, and lately on the channel I've been very critical of Metallica, but today I wanted to take some opportunity to talk about what we love about Metallica. So today is my top 10 Metallica riffs. These are not in any particular order. I wanted to pick some riffs that meant something to me, but then also some riffs that are undeniably important to metal as a whole and to Metallica fans. I'm a left-handed guitarist and I don't have a buttload of guitars. My guitar that was currently tuned to E standard is with the tech. So today we're doing those riffs in C standard. I guess two of the riffs are in drop B flat. Fine, we get it. Also, I don't know, it just adds a little bit of extra beef. This is definitely a more modern sound and polished, in quotes, than what the regular Metallica sound is on those classic records, and I think there's something admirable about it, seeing it in this new light. Let me know some of your favorite Metallica riffs in the comments down below, and let me know if you like these better or worse than the original riffs themselves. I'm very curious. Last thing before we get into it, guys, I love making you these remix videos. I love talking about bands that we love, but a bunch of my videos get claimed, and the economy has been trash lately. So my revenue is substantially down. I'm asking you, please, if you do like what I do and you have the spare money, it would mean a lot to me to support me on Subscribestar or to become a member of the channel or even just send a tip. BecomeTheKnight@gmail.com via PayPal. All right, this first riff is the bridge riff from 1. It's just an absolute assault and feels like it encapsulates the brutality of war and the loss and trauma that comes along with that. If you do have PTSD, I think it's a awesomely captured moment. Next is For Who the Bell Tolls. This song doesn't resonate as much with me, though I do enjoy it, but I know people love this song. It's an important song to metal, and particularly the one that really stands out to me is just that chromatic walk down palm mute riff that just has such a chug and just so much attitude and confidence. It's pretty massive for how simple it is. I think that's gonna be a common theme. Just all of these are very simple and they have such attitude. It's really cool. Next up is Seek and Destroy, the intro riff. That intro riff is instantly recognizable. It has so much attitude. It's got this mean, ominous, like Grim Reaper with a scythe on riding Death the horse on its way in, you know? I tried to add a little extra stank to it, and I'm curious how you guys like it. I think it's kind of fun. It's a lot more fun to play than I remember, that's for sure. Next up is one of the most defining riffs in all of rock and metal, Enter Sandman, that main riff. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, Metallica sold out. I get all that, but man, just pretend it's not Metallica for a second. That is an undeniably huge riff that just makes you go, bang your head immediately. And again, just the effectiveness in the simplicity is so freaking cool. Like, really, really well written. Next up is a favorite of mine as a kid, and that is the main riff from Orion. This was very formative to me. I remember hearing it and I immediately wanted to run home and learn to play it on guitar. It was just so cool, and I don't know exactly why. I guess doing that one chord, then you go down to the sus9 and back up, and then going to a dominant, basically, it really does have this naturally engaging and tension-building voice leading on the guitar part that I think just immediately speaks to people, even if it does last a little longer than it needs to. And that, and also it develops into some really cool rhythmic stuff that they do later in the song. Next, we have Sad But True. Some people have voted this the heaviest riff of all time, and I think there's an argument to be made there. There's just something about the guts on that one. And I will admit, my guitar is not perfectly tuned, so it doesn't quite have the same impact as that original riff does on that record. How the heck they got that to just hit so cleanly, to me, is really a work of art, with how much effort went into that production just to make one chord sound massive. It takes less work nowadays because of digital technology, but back in the day of just analog and you had to do everything on tape and you had to push the knobs as you're moving along, man, that real pain in the butt. So the huge accomplishment to get something that massive for the time and pave the way for us in the future. Next up is Call of Cthulhu. It's one of my favorite songs when I was a kid, and I still really dig it to this day. You know, obviously you got that main riff in A minor, which is super cool, and you got that D riff as well, also really cool. But man, the riff that always stuck out to me the most was that riff in A that also drops down to the E a little bit here and there, and does that chromatic walk up, because it takes this like really big, horrifying thing that they're painting and turns it into this just driving tension upward, and then it modulates up another step. And it was just, I don't know, I really, really enjoyed that a lot. That was a really formative riff for me. Next up is Devil's Dance, and I included this one because this was one of the first Metallica records I'd ever listened to as Reload, but also, man, this riff I feel like is quite underrated and just, ooh. You want to talk about the heft and the power that comes out of Sad But True? Devil's Dance does something really similar, man. There's a really gnarly line that Kirk Hammett plays that I feel like adds so much personality to it and really puts you in the mood and vibe of what the song's about. Next up, we have the main clean riff from Welcome Home and or Sanitarium, and what a great song to introduce kids to as far as trying to get them beyond just basic music into something a little bit more deep and adding a little bit of dynamic to metal music and thrash music. Like when I was little and I started learning that riff, I was like, oh, wow, I learned this pretty quickly. And then when you grow up and you've been doing this for a long time, you're like, oh, I see exactly how James came up with this. This is just the easiest thing to lay out on the guitar ever, you know? Frankly, those are some of my favorite riffs to write and favorite riffs to learn. are the ones that just lay out so beautifully, naturally, and easy on the guitar, but have maximum effect as far as melody or harmony. Those are those beautiful serendipity moments, and I feel like a Welcome Home is absolutely one of those. And last, but very much not least, we have the main riff from Master of Puppets. I apologize, I'm a little bit out of practice, so it wasn't like perfectly clean the way I wanted it to be, but you will get the point. This is arguably top 5 most important riffs to metal ever, period. It's such a groundbreaker. It basically has its fingerprints on every metal album after it, essentially, in some form or another. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. It has its fingerprints on so many things, and I mean, Stranger Things has finally broken it into normies, so I guess that's cool too. But yeah, this riff is just totally undeniable. Just what a rager, what an intense, mad, aggressive sound. Excellent. All right, guys, so those are my top 10 riffs that I picked. Would love to know yours in the comments down below. Would love to know whether you liked mine more or liked mine less. Let me know whatever your opinions are down there. And again, it would mean the world to me if you could support me on Subscribestar. Link to that is in the description, or become a YouTube member. That's also awesome. Or even just send a tip, becomethenight@gmail.com to PayPal. All right, that'll do it for me. Love you guys. Stay awesome.